Okay. Well, first, let's congratulate everybody on being appointed. We know Rich is reappointed, we know Heather's reappointed, and Janet Hoover is our new trustee. I think she's kind of made the rounds, but...
Hi, Janet, I'm Ann Ross.
You know me.
Yes, I think everyone else introduced themselves.
Well, welcome to the group. I hope you feel the same after the meeting. Okay, well, the first issue, of course, is a hot button. It's the approval of the minutes. For Janet's edification, I'm going to recap a little bit about what happened. At the last meeting, we voted for officers, and we voted using the bylaws, our current bylaws, and we voted by secret ballot. That was challenged by Trustee Wider, who said it was in violation of the state law. So I took all of the information, I heard from a lot of people about it. I bumped it up to Mid-York, since they're the next people on our chain of command, and they in turn bumped it up to Bob Freeman. He came back down through, and it basically, I was basically told that the bylaws are invalid because they don't meet the New York State law. So the first thing we have to do is adjust the bylaws. I believe that's in your committee.
Yep. And I have a proposed change, whenever you want to.
Well, I think it probably needs to be completely looked over. There's probably a lot of things we might want to look at.
Okay.
And I invite input from anybody on how the bylaws might want to be changed, how it might help us.
Should that be a committee, or do you want to just individually take a look at it?
The committee that's in charge of the bylaws is a nominating committee in accordance with the bylaws.
Okay, good.
So you can
Get some people
figure.
together and.
Well, get your committee together, but I want people that have any input to give it to Mary if they have some thoughts about how we should change it to make it a little smoother, to cover some of the things. We're going to run into a few things, I'm sure, that we wish were in the bylaws, so we won't have to argue about them every time.
May I ask where I can get a copy of the bylaws?
Well, that's
I'll send you one.
Okay, thank you.
we're required to give you a complete orientation.
Okay.
You're supposed to have all the documents, all the bylaws, there's an entire list of documents you should have. And we'll see that you get them. And then we'll take you on a tour of the library, we'll introduce you to the people. I'm not sure exactly who's going to do that, it's the president's responsibility. However, I think Elena is a good one to take you on the tour. When Elena takes the tour, she can let me know, and I'll try to be there so we can do this together.
Okay.
Janet, do you have an email address?
Yes, it is jhoov,
H-O-V?
H-O-O-V,
H-O-O-V?
8967
8967?
at AOL.
Okay, thank you.
I'm going to ask John to put together an up-to-date list of all the trustees and their email addresses and their phone numbers. Unless, of course, they wish.
Yes, if they don't wish, only if they wish them there.
I understand. You can ask for them. If someone doesn't want to give them, that's fine.
What's that, J-Dub?
A list of all the statistics for the trustees. Their email address, their home address, their phone number.
Oh, thank you.
Just something so that we'll have I found myself after getting on the board looking at 4 or 5 different pieces of paper trying to find a phone number for somebody.
Yeah, on an Excel spreadsheet or
Yes.
something. We've had it before, I think.
Yeah, John has one.
Yeah.
I finally found he was the one to ask, and he had one, and he gave it to me. But now it needs to be updated, and if anybody is uncomfortable with giving out either their home address or any of their private information, that's fine. But we'd like to be able to contact each other, without going through, looking up the phone books.
Yeah, that's a good idea, too.
Actually, okay, so we've discovered that bylaws are invalid. I was also told that the vote that was taken is valid, so there does not need to be a revote. But I was told that we must establish a record of the vote, public record of the vote. Now, Bob Freeman suggested that we just take a roll call and have people say how they voted. I've been getting a little flack about that. So frankly, I don't care how we do it, as long as we do it. I want all the votes on the public record, just like it says. We don't want to get into a situation where we're going to be criticized once again for not following the law, not being responsive to the things that we need to do. So, I would like to ask for a roll call for people to tell me how they voted. Now, people need to understand this is not a revote. The vote has already taken place. This is only revealing how you voted in accordance with the law. And I know I don't understand why there's reluctance, but there's some people have problems with it. So I'm simply going to ask for the roll call. I'm going to start with myself.
I'll go next.
Well, the
Can I
first,
comment? Can I comment too? I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
well, first let me say this. There were 4 people up. There were 11. 3 of the people that were voted in were voted unanimously, so I don't think we need to talk about that. We all know that everybody voted.
And it just has to be recorded as such.
Just
Yeah,
has
well,
to
we're
be
going to
recorded.
record that.
Yeah, by each individual, each trustee voted for these 3. I'm sorry, go ahead, Chief.
You're absolutely right. But I'm saying that we don't have to go through a roll call
No.
to figure out who voted for president, who voted for treasurer, and who voted for secretary.
Agreed.
The only issue was Ed Flum and Mary DeRoss competed as vice president.
Mhm.
The vote was 6 for Ed, 5 for Mary, and Ed was carried. So Ed is the vice president. This is not an issue. It's not an issue about who the officers are or anything like that. It's an issue of trying to not appear to be circumventing the law. The law is the law. Now, you had a comment, Rich?
I do. I contacted Mr. Freeman directly, and I also have a document that he wrote.
I know you sent that to me.
Okay. And we don't have to do a roll call. It can just be recorded by Mr. Klein. All right?
Like I said earlier,
And I did talk to Mr. Freeman, I have his phone number. He said, here, I've highlighted the law, and it does not have to be recorded, and if anybody wants us to talk to
Could you do me a
Mr.
favor and just read that paragraph, is that the paragraph?
Absolutely, I'll be glad to.
let me say something.
Go ahead.
I read what you sent me. I read what Wanda sent me. I read what Bob Freeman sent me. And they're all in agreement. Bob Freeman, the only thing he said different than I said, he said it does not have to be a roll call. It just has to be on the record, on a public record. So
That's correct. That's
if you
correct.
guys don't want
That's what I'm saying.
if you guys don't want to do a roll call, if you want to whisper in John's ear and say I voted for, it's going to end up in the public record anyway.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So I don't care. I have no problem how we do it as long as we do it.
Jay, I'm glad you're bringing this up, and I think in the spirit of openness, I think it's about time to stop these childish games as to why a trustee or trustees are refusing to acknowledge the fact as to how they voted with regards to Ms. DeRoss and Mr. Flema.
I don't think
I'm not-
anybody's done it.
No.
Nobody's saying that,
Okay.
by any means. Who
Well,
said that?
I get the impression that we don't want to have it called out here, that
No,
it still
I'm following
becomes a
what-
public record.
I'm following what Mr. Freeman told me to do today.
Yes.
Which was, I asked him specifically, do we need to do a roll call? Because what I'm reading here from your information
Mhm.
is no, as long as you
That's
have
not a-
somebody do it
It's not
That's
publicly.
not
an
an
issue,
issue, guys.
It's not an
That's
issue.
Good, let's do that.
That's not an issue.
What Jay said.
Let's get by it
So
then.
how would you propose we do it?
I'll be
You're gonna
glad,
whisper-
I'll be
you're
glad to
gonna
write
whisper
on a piece of paper who I voted for the public
And
record
sign your
keeper.
name and give it to him.
Absolutely.
Well, then what's
Well,
the
then
pro-
what's to stop me from the next meeting taking that and reading into the record?
He has to.
Doesn't have to.
Yes,
No,
he
doesn't.
does.
Well, but I can if I want to.
You can if you want to.
Yes. So, I mean, if it comes to that, that's what I'll do. As far as I'm concerned, I'm gonna do the roll call. If you don't wanna do it, you wanna do it another way, that's fine. But do it, because I'm not gonna settle for anything less
Jay,
than
Can I
that.
ask my question? I was
Yes,
next
you
in
certainly
line. It's a
can.
question, not a comment. I believe Linda voted and Les was here, so what do we do about them?
Well, I've already contacted Les and I've asked him to tell me how he voted. If he hasn't responded, of course, that's not unusual for Les. So I expect he will tell me eventually. I'm guessing that once we have 10 and 11 votes, we'll be able to figure out what the last one was.
Exactly.
So, having said that, you know, I just want to make sure that we do the right thing. And if there's some difficulties with how we do it, I don't care, as long as it's done. And if there's difficulty with someone who's missing, we can probably fill in the blanks. Well, let's get by this, okay?
I agree.
I'll start. I voted for Mary.
John, will you take these down, please?
I voted for Ed Flema.
I voted for Mary, no, I'm kidding. I voted for myself. Sorry, Mary.
I voted, did you get me, John? I voted for Ed Flema.
Ed Fleming, who'd you vote for?
I voted for myself.
No kidding.
I did. I did.
You did?
I was ashamed.
Well, I don't know, the rest of us were all voted in unanimously, so guess what? We all voted for ourselves.
That's a good point.
John, I voted for Ed.
You didn't vote, so,
Jim,
I voted for Mary.
I voted for Ed.
How many ads you got there?
and I voted for
I
Ed.
voted for Ed. Jay. For Ed. Fitzpatrick. Kirkpatrick.
For Mary.
And you don't want
I'll give him my vote, and I'll sign,
to, okay?
which is what I was directed to.
I'm going to abstain.
You can't.
Yes, I can.
John, you
No,
can't.
no, John, this is not a vote. This is not a
I
vote.
abstain.
You can't.
You can't, you know,
I do.
okay, listen to me for a second. Do you realize what kind of morons we're gonna look like if we don't settle this
Yeah.
like a bunch of adults?
What we can do is we can just say the old vote was
Not gonna happen.
invalid, and we vote again.
It's not gonna happen.
Okay,
Um,
then I abstain.
Mr. Freeman warned me through steps that the worst thing we could do was try to vote again because it would make such a mess that no one would ever figure it out.
And there's no precedence there. There is no precedence there. There's no law. I did ask him a lot of questions about that. There's no precedence there. That would get into a
Okay,
real
well,
mess.
I'm gonna just repeat that, the people that we talked to are the people that we're responsible to. And they told me what to do and I expect it to be done. And if it's not being done, I can't make you do it, but I have to tell you that you're embarrassing the library and you're embarrassing the board.
Jay, I would also bring up the fact that it's a trustee's responsibility to not only the board officers, but to the board and to the community to acknowledge the fact that he or she has a responsibility in these matters. And for a board trustee not to articulate his position or her position, I think may be grounds for removal from that position. That's how strongly I feel.
Okay, well, I don't want to carry this thing into a long drawn-out fight. I'd like to know what the vote is. Just humor me and tell me where we are.
I gotta put this out.
Well, how many Ed Flemings are
Linda's
there?
vote now?
I do not have Linda's vote. How many Ed Flemings are there? And
On
how
my
many-
count, there's 5.
And how many Mary Gerard?
No, I got 6.
Kevin was
There's
married.
There's 6 that
There
said Ed.
is.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Six voted for Ed that spoke.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, okay.
So then.
And it was 6.
So we have our answer. It's just,
Oh, we only got 5, right? 1?
No.
Two.
Mary,
Mary.
Mary,
One,
2, 3, 4, 5,
No,
6.
no.
No.
Kevin voted for Mary.
Oh, I thought you voted,
Mary.
oh, okay, 5, I was wrong. I thought
so
you
it's
voted
5-5.
for Ed.
And, okay, I'm gonna move on, but I have to tell you, I'm really disappointed.
Um,
Well, it's not 5-5.
No, it's not.
Well, I'm sorry, it's 5 for you, so we know that somebody who has not been listed voted for.
Jay, I think in a situation such as this, though, I would ask that the board, you as president, take whatever action is necessary for compliance. I think it's under your leadership.
We are going,
What's he gonna do, take him out and hit him?
No,
What's he
no,
gonna do?
no, I'm not saying that. He's the board president.
Right,
And it's
I
about
understand.
time we have compliance with the
Well,
rules and
what would you
regulations.
suggest though for compliance?
Then I would ask that trustee to withdraw from his position if he's failing to comply with the law. That's the law. The bylaws even state you can bring an officer up on charges.
I read the bylaws.
I read them too.
I know
okay,
you did.
okay,
I have one
let's put
comment.
this to bed.
Since this board was informed of the open meetings law, to the best of my knowledge, I don't think we have ever received any information without soliciting it ourselves on what the open meetings law is, why we're not notified, whether because there was confusion for decades about were we municipal or were we a 501c3, whether the town got the information, I don't know. But we don't have a conduit to find out new rulings, and that's where the mistakes are.
No, Mary, there are no
You
mistakes
weren't
with
here
this
then.
board.
Okay.
I have been on this board since May of 2010, and I have brought every issue concerning open meetings law and compliance to the board. You and the others have failed to acknowledge those.
Eddie,
Okay, okay.
Okay,
Let's
here,
stop-
let me,
let's stop- let's
I
stop.
voted for Ed Flemma, and you voted on secret ballot 2 times before this,
When?
just so you know, and we have.
Rich,
All right,
This-
put
office.
this to
You
bed.
can-
Put this to bed, guys.
I voted for Flemma, let's move on.
We have
I
our
don't wanna,
6, so.
we have our 6, but it's not over, okay? Fine. I'm worried, I'm concerned about you, John. I don't like the abstention, I don't like how it looks, and I need to look into that, what we need to do about that, because I'm really unhappy with that. So, we've got our 6.
I'm ashamed.
We can tell who our votes were by just pure mathematics, so let's get by this and go on to something else.
Yes.
I'm sorry this had to come to this.
Me too.
Hopefully, you know, Ed Flemmer once suggested that John just call everybody, get the stuff put in the record.
And then we never even got to see it or discuss it or
But,
vote for it.
you know,
That's what my
people-
recommendation was.
People have their,
It doesn't follow over me.
trustees have the
It'd be
right,
in the minutes, and we approve the minutes, and it'd be a permanent record.
Yes.
okay, guys, trustees have the right to vote their conscience or not their conscience, so we'll have to decide, okay? Can we get this, back? I would like to move, if you don't mind, Heather, I'd like to move you down after the director's report so that you can just kind of roll right into the,
How are we gonna vote on the minutes?
very good. As far as I'm concerned, now that we have done this, let us vote on the minutes the way they were. And
Yes,
let us-
that's what it
Let us
should
put the information we gathered tonight in the minutes today.
Jay, may I ask one?
You certainly can.
With regard to the minutes, I agree with you in principle, but I think it also must be stated the fact that, I'm sure you would, I mean, the fact that we don't have Linda Romano's, although we assume, and
Oh, it'll be accurately
the one, I
represented.
think it must be stated in the record or somehow that trustee Klein, as secretary, refuses to acknowledge.
If the man wants to abstain in public, then it'll be in the record.
Yes.
You know, that's quite clear. But
Oh, I'm sorry, Jim.
There's no sense in carrying this into a shouting match because we're going to solve nothing. Okay? Fair. The president's report.
Well, wait, they haven't
We
voted.
haven't approved, I move that we approve the December minutes.
I second it.
Second. What's, all in favor?
Subject to the comments made by the board president.
Fair enough. Yeah, I agree.
Aye.
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 Is it unanimous?
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna accept the minutes the way they were because they were written as done. And we're gonna pass, we're gonna meet the requirements of the law by changing our bylaws and writing down who voted for who, or who didn't vote for who,
Yeah.
in the minutes of this meeting. Fair enough? Glad you're here to help me out, Mary. This is the first time in the big chair, you know.
I know, it's a tough job.
We'll do the president's report. I spent a lot of time working on the committee assignments, and I made quite a number of changes. I got rid of a few committees, I folded a few together, I changed the chair around, and what I'd like to do is, since this is purely within my purview as the president, I'd just like to pass out a chart that has everybody's assignment on, and there's attached to it a sort of an explanation sheet that says, kind of summarizes what I've done differently, and I'd like to hold any comments and arguments and discussions about it to sometime after everybody's looked it over. I don't want to get into a discussion about, oh, how come on this committee, how come that committee's, I don't want to hear any of that right now. Fair enough?
Fair.
Okay. You're going to notice that they're stapled in a strange way, but they're stapled in a strange way so that you can look at them like this and then open it up into charts in there. So pass it around, please. And there should be enough there. I forgot the library was closed today, so I was doing my own printing.
Ed, you
And
do the printing?
stapling.
Oh, pass these around. Here, there's another one here.
I'll be glad to take questions or have any discussion on it anybody would like at some other time. I just don't want to take up meeting time for this information. Fair enough? Well,
I need one.
you can't have one. The director does not give them.
Here's one for you.
Thank you. Trust me, it's on my computer if I can ever get it off. Okay. John put together a calendar for us, which
I think I emailed everybody.
the only
I don't
thing,
have copies, but I emailed everybody.
the only change is the vacation has been put back to July. I'm given to understand that that's the way it always was, and then it was changed to August for some obscure reason. So I don't think should be any comment unless people want to change the vacation month.
Yeah, what it is, if you don't have it there, it's the third Wednesday of each month is how it falls. And it alternates like we have at other meetings, 7 p.m. one time and noon the next, and 7 p.m. then same time.
The
Do you
next,
have to vote on that, or is it just that's how it's going to be?
well, I don't know, what are we voting on, calendar?
Yeah. Do we need to do that, or
Is there a discussion? I mean, does someone think?
Elena, if you're gonna join Rotary, do they meet Wednesdays at noon?
Yes,
Yes.
I was here today, I was a speaker, it was a lot of fun. They asked me to join, so far I'm joining New Hartford Rotary Club and New Hartford Historical Society organization.
So you're
So
suggesting,
that would be
you're
every
suggesting the
Wednesday
noons?
at noon, she wouldn't be here.
But you know, I'm available in the evening or in the afternoon, why can skip one Wednesday, I can skip Rotary.
I think the original intent was to be more available to the public every other month. People that work during the day could come at 7 o'clock meetings, and people who were available during the day, who might rather come at noon, could come at the noon meetings. I'd like not to change that if you don't find it
Sure,
too awkward.
it's fine.
It's really
With me,
important,
it's
it's
absolutely
really
fine.
important that you be here, so that if you think it's gonna be a conflict to the point where
Okay,
you could not
maybe
come here.
known to join just a Rotary for now, you know. If it's big conflict, I just put it on hold and we will see.
Okay, you'll always be able to come here though, right?
Yes.
That's all I care about. I don't care if you miss all the rotaries, I just want you to come here.
I understand.
Okay. That's all I have on my list. I'm sure there's a bunch of other stuff that's gonna come up later, but, anybody like to add anything at this point to?
You want any comments or just add, or?
No, I prefer not to get into a discussion about the committees at this point. I'll be glad to discuss it with anybody, and if it becomes a huge issue, we can kick it around at the next meeting.
That's fine.
But the way I read it, it's my choice, I've made it. Okay? So that's all for me. I would like to have Eleanor speak, please.
Okay. And here is my report for your convenience. Pass it on. And here is circulation. The few things I was very busy on Monday, and I'm sorry I was unable to attend this village meeting. But I have a couple of meetings with local politicians, with community
Excuse me.
leaders.
Excuse me, Eleanor, speak, please.
Yeah.
It's okay.
No, it's disrespectful, let's go. Has everybody got their papers now, so that
Yes.
we can,
Okay.
let's pay close attention to Ellen, please.
I'll just be short, possible short. So I have.
Tell us what we need to
attended,
know, you don't have to be sure.
Okay. I attended a lot of meetings, except one of the village of New Hartford. Monday, 13, I get swamped with mass do project and work and left my office at 9 p.m. So, but other than that, everything is going fine. We have a lot of new program. We have a lot of new events. When I was in New York yesterday, it will be computer security training for all New Hartford Public Library staff on March 5th. It will be special technology training, 3 of them, available for staff and for customers, for patrons. We have, I would like to highlight your attention on few things. Number one, I'm ready to start with the 2013 library report for New York State. The question is, if our 2012 report has been eventually approved, New York would like to know it. Another thing, financial thing, I would like to offer to do some amendment to our budget. The reason is we was 2,000 under on books, but we was overdraw on CD and DVDs. But if we do this amendment and put material in full format and library materials, we will be okay, instead of doing separate. Of course, I just suggestion, it's up to you. Another thing,
And let me just add.
sure, yes.
I talked to Lena this week, because if you looked at your budget to actuals, we're a little bit over in a couple of categories and a little bit under.
Yes,
And so I stressed to
exactly.
them the importance that that's their job to watch. It doesn't happen until December.
Yes,
So-
exactly.
So that's just,
And
it's
I
nothing
just
serious,
started in
but,
December.
yeah,
If
it was
you
just
like
something I
to,
suggested to them, they need to watch
Okay.
it. Yeah, so we
That's
talked
Thank
about
you,
that.
Heather.
We'll take that.
Yes, it's just that. Another thing, I have a question, when I asking for your approval and for your input. We received this 5,000 donation for technology. Some of staff, Roy, would like to buy 2 extremely expensive computers, 2,500 each one, with touch screen, and always with this fancy schmancy stuff. I spoke with Midyot yesterday, and I spoke with Davarbi today and some other directors. The best thing we can do, we may buy just one instead of two because it's too expensive. My idea is to buy two self-checkout computers. Like you go to the grocery store, you don't want to stay late, right? You can go and check out, cost $625 each, and also Google Chrome tablets, $275 each. They're easy to be stolen. Just when to check them out, we need to hold ID. Not just library card, but ID. They can for use in library only. It helps us to save, because if two self-checkout machines will be implemented, we have staff available. I can send staff to help with children programs. I can have staff to help with adult computers. I can help send staff to help with and all other things, especially with summer reading coming soon. We need an extra hands, and we do won't have resources and money to hire any additional staff. So these two self-checkout machines maybe help, and these tablets loaded with new internet and new program maybe a solution instead of buy two highly cost computers. It's just my idea, and I'm asking for your input, for your suggestion and approval. Another thing,
Excuse me, you're
Yes.
talking about book checkout?
yes,
Okay,
book
I'm sorry, I was
and
thinking
DVD.
about people checkout. You're talking about a
Not
checkout.
book. You know, if
Okay,
you
okay.
come in grocery store, you don't,
Yeah.
because sometimes what happens, especially in the evening, we short of staff.
Mhm.
It's a long lane, you know, people don't like to stay in lane long. Some people even feel more comfortable, just come and check out, you know, and you're good. So instead of buy two extremely expensive computer, why not buy all of this? So
Yeah, Elena, with
Yes.
regard to what you're saying, I'm very familiar with what you are saying because I spent my own nickel going down to Long Island and I visited 3 of the libraries down there. And basically what we're trying to do is what's already been put in place in Long Island, and they've automated their libraries.
Yes.
So in effect, what they've done is not only can you, they have the scanning technology which saves on human resources, but they also use that same technology for
Yes.
purposes of recording timesheets for the employees as well. The libraries, the 2 libraries that I visited on Long Island were absolutely I was amazed as to their use of automation. And that's one thing this library needs, and I commend Alina for moving in that direction because automation is the way. It saves labor. She can reallocate her resources. You know, there's a multitude of areas in terms of technology. I've seen it firsthand and demonstrated to me as a trustee in Long Island 2 years ago.
But my only question would be, we don't want to take away from the ability of the public to use computers. We don't want to.
Oh, no, it's not that. No, Jay, it's
No, I
not
just want to
that.
make sure, I know that, I know this is Les Cartwright's donation that he got from someone who wants it for technology, and that's fine. So it would seem to me the right thing to do was, you need to put together what you would want to do.
okay,
And
I
present
send
it
you
to
email
us.
tomorrow to
Yeah.
all of you.
It doesn't have to
just
be
now.
like this minute, but
Tomorrow, be okay.
rather than just,
Can I just,
sure.
and I don't want to skip ahead to John Klein, but maybe there was a donation that was given. There was a check that showed up. I wanted to make sure, we haven't accepted the donation, number one. Number two, I got the person that donated the money to actually sign a letter, because we needed to come to the board as to what the donation was for.
Right.
The donation was extremely explicit. It was children's technology, not book technology or checkout technology.
Okay.
Children's technology.
Then it is what it is.
To be used, and in the letter, she also asked that a plate be put on, or some kind of something that would note that it was in honor of her late husband.
Yes, I'm sorry for interrupting.
No, you're not interrupting. I just want to be clear.
I spoke with Les 2 days prior he left to Las Vegas. What he told me, she can write what he wants. You know, we want and first children
She's already written it, though, right?
she written,
See,
but
and
it has been approved today, you know.
Right, but can I just?
Absolutely, go
Okay,
ahead.
and that's great. And you weren't here 2 months ago. The idea was, what do we need? What are our needs? What are our wants? And where does the board want to go with that? Okay?
Sure.
You just mentioning that, and anybody that wants to add technology, it reduces staff. So I would assume that you would reduce hours, staffing hours, because you're putting this new process in place, if that's what you want. Let me just finish, right? That's what new technology brings. I don't know if it's the right thing or wrong thing. I don't have that kind of skill set to know that. All I know is that when we start receiving donations and the person says, this is what it's used for, and this is the call that I get, and we got a check that had no name on it, I was not about to let that be deposited. We don't know who it's from. It could be mob related. Who knows, right? I then went to find out where the check came from. Wouldn't be the first time, by the way.
We've been
For a
found
library? I don't know.
Oh, actually,
I wouldn't
quite,
know about
yeah.
I have a letter.
I wrote the letter. I asked
yeah,
Les
you told me
what was her wish, so that we had it, so that it was very clear the money was restricted if that's what she wished. If it wasn't, it was just technology, we'd put in just whatever she wanted. Les said, this is what she wants. Said, fine, that's what I wrote, that's what she signed. Now, if she then decides to change her mind, that she wants something else, there's issues with that. You make a gift, you make a gift. You don't come back and say, I've changed my mind. So there's a problem with that. And if we're going out and so I just want to be clear about that, because we're getting into some iffy waters here now, that we ask and we change our mind and we bring it up to the board and it may show up in the paper.
No, I don't agree with changing your mind. If that's what she said,
Okay.
That's what Les said, and that's what Les
it is.
signed.
If it is what,
No, well, here's the one question I have. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
okay.
The fact is that there's a letter out there, and I as a trustee haven't seen it. This is another problem that I hope will be resolved, that when we get these kind of letters as it relates to finances, we need to share that with each one of the board members,
Right.
not selectively keep this. And this has been a problem with
First
this
of all,
board.
let me just be clear, Ed.
This
I
is the
haven't
tier.
spoken yet in my finance report. Number two, I'm not going to accept anything until we talk about it as a board.
Heather, you have an obligation if you receive something to share it with the board, not to keep it solely
Right.
to yourself.
Right.
Let's clearly understand that,
Right.
okay?
Yes,
Now,
I understand my duties,
Getting,
Ed.
while I sometimes
So
wonder,
I'd like to get back
Whoa,
to,
But,
whoa,
you know, I'm not gonna get into that, but getting back to Elena, that I've been personally down in Long Island. I've seen the tremendous success that what she's referring to. Now, I may have misspoken because I didn't have all the facts and because I don't have that letter in front of me. But her intention, she's well-intentioned in where she wants to go, and I'll personally work with her on that because I have firsthand knowledge being down in Long Island at these two libraries.
I think the issue that Heather brings up, I don't think at this point we have any recourse but to use the donations for children's technology. It's
All
restricted
right.
funds. It's
Okay,
restricted
so
funds.
I mean,
Two
there
things.
may be a way to take the money from another fund. Since
yes,
we're
it's
doing
okay,
this,
no
but-
problem. I just
But
would
I-
like two clarification.
Okay,
I will not reduce staff hours. Explanation. We
I'm
have
gonna reallocate.
children on our internet. Twice they was on YouTube catch looking inappropriate sites. Why? In our work policy, and I sent a draft of new one, it's changed. Kids must be supervised by the parents or caregivers while using internet. If it's on paper, What happened in reality? You come to the library with your kid. You ship him or her on the computer and you're free to go. Unfortunately, we don't have enough of staff to manage children's area. It's only Ruth, and she's excellent. She may be on the phone, answering the reference question. She may be with a patron. She's doing program, and it's just her. It's okay. I absolutely agree with you. We can buy this from our other funds. And I have another idea. We can use, it's less than 3,000, to buy whole crayon kiosk with 4 large size iPads. They loaded with educational programs. They loaded with games what children like to play, and it's very useful in Suffolk County and Nassau County and another, and I know even in New Jersey, and it's New York City. Very useful. It's not yet here. My question, we can either buy 2 extremely expensive computers, it's gone. Children technology, no problem. Let's go with children's technology. We can buy this still 1 computer, 2,500. 4 iPad loaded with games and with educational programs, $4.95 each. If you buy 4, it will be discount. I don't remember exactly. And it's crayon 6 or 500 plus 4 little chairs. It's minimum space. They're working on Wi-Fi. You know, I don't want kids on internet looking pornography when we don't have enough staff to watch, to supervise them. And okay, let's spend it for children's technology and move on. Next issue, I would like to implement a special form for staff. I little spoke with it. It's be performance evaluation, performance documentation, an individual performance plan for each employee. What's happened? On December 28th, Saturday, weekend librarian has been scheduled to work and cover reference desk. She simply not show up at work. I call her at home, nobody answered, and she wasn't scheduled. Later, when I spoke with her, she told, oh, it's all a mistake, it's schedule mistake. I told Yoli that I will take in this day. I signed it. You complete a form, absence form? Which? What? They doesn't even hear. I'm sorry. I used to work for the state for years. I would like everything be documented as it should be. She say, I say, we say, this is not going to work. So as my next step, I would like leave of absence form for each employee. Performance plan is for each employee. If something going wrong, performance documentation. And it's what I would like, and it's be a huge change. And I know not everybody be happy because it's less freedom, but we got to do what we got to do, and also I need your
I think we have to remember that the operation of the library is your business.
Yes, so you're not,
So
it's up to me.
you tell us what you're doing, you deal with that when it's a personnel problem.
Okay.
Yeah, what the thing
You
is,
get the support from the committees that support you, but you need to make the decisions and then come with us and tell us what you're gonna do.
Okay,
Okay,
so I'll do it and I'll send the email.
Whatever you think
Mhm.
needs to be done, you don't have to convince us, you just need to tell us. And then,
All right.
if there's some reason that we can't support it, we'll let you know.
Okay, sounds good. So it's a lot of information on my report. What I trying to do now, it's build a full fundament for the new library, as a community center equipment with new technology. We live in, in 21st century now, and we need to comply. And I really appreciate your support. If you need something, please feel free to contact me. And if it's any suggestion, anything you would like me to improve, any ideas, it's always greatly appreciated. Thank you for that.
Elena, you're doing a wonderful job.
Thank
and
you.
We don't expect you to get it all done in 5 minutes.
Give me 10, okay. We're going for 10.
And all these people around this table want nothing more than you to succeed. So just ask for our help when you need it, but you use your head when you want to go ahead and do something.
I'll
figure
try.
something, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
To back up Elena's presentation, 20 years ago when we started building the library, computers cost $6,000 to $7,000 to $10,000 each.
And there were pieces of junk, right?
Yes. it's-
Automatic checkout count programs were a high priority for us, but we didn't have the $6,000 to $10,000 for each computer. And it's a good thing, now they're an awful lot cheaper.
Well, frankly, never occurred to me, so
Oh.
I'm impressed with the whole idea.
Yeah.
I like the idea too. I think that would be a great thing to add to
You
a
could
big technology
reallocate
grant
and be more
application.
efficient with your people instead of them standing around behind the
Absolutely.
desk.
That's what they did in Long Island at the
Yeah.
two libraries that they did with
I never even thought of that.
Yeah, absolutely, and I've seen it in action, and they've even used it for the personnel reporting in, so it feeds right into the
I can see
computer.
where that would be somewhere right on the edge of invasive, but okay.
No, it's not, no, it's fully documented.
No,
and
I understand, but I'm
They
saying.
had a fob, Jay, and when they came in and they left, they used the fob to go across the scanning,
Okay.
right on the desk. It was done by a fob.
So we wouldn't even need circulation
No.
cameras either.
Maybe so for someone, but.
Well, no, that's entirely true, no.
I just have one question about your report. On page 3 of 3, you said the most significant and valuable grant available at this time is the Public Library Construction Grant Program.
Yes, and I
What are we
plan,
looking to construct?
okay, let me answer this question.
Can I get a copy
Heather,
of what she had?
I
Yeah, should be
planning
papers.
to apply,
Thank you.
and I planning to apply this grant on summer. It's not available, but two things. Number one, we have now electric room, trash out with flammable materials. I would like to build a storage room. Library actually has a storage room, as I figure out, but it's an historical society. It's not closed, and I believe staff found it inconvenient to go. I would like to build storage room. We don't have storage room. You don't want me to do storage room and stuff bathroom, no. So we need to build storage room. It's idea number
You're
one.
talking about internally, right, inside
I
the building.
think one idea internally, another really close. I know that Kevin, you're working with company, with architects, and maybe can
Yeah.
help me. Yes, and we need this storage room because it's no storage room in our library. Number one. Number two, in summer reading, we have a lot of program. Library crowded, overflowed with kids. Project number two, to build something outside, something summer, so kids can have some programs near the library. I have arrangement with schools, with daycare, they will bring kids here, and we simply need something because we have one program on here or another, and our space is very limited in summertime especially. It's idea. Now, I consulted with Wanda and another library directors. They told me was good ideas. The only thing, they can approve one one at a time. So we actually need to choose to build this extra storage room in the library or near library, or go ahead for something for youth programs kind of outside near library.
Well,
This is an answer
it
to your
gets-
question.
That's building and grounds then, right? Would that go
Yes,
to building and
yes.
grounds
Mhm.
committee
It
then?
gets
Yes.
complicated once you start going outside the perimeter of the building, but, and I'll leave that up to you to think
Are we
about.
talking about the
It's just
pavilion or
up to
something?
you.
Is we talking about
I
some
don't
kind of
know,
pavilion?
when she
or-
says outside the perimeter of the building, I'm
Kevin,
a
how
little
much-
concerned about managing it
How
and
much land do we have past the blacktop?
Oh. That we own,
Yes.
not to be sarcastic, but if we get, I think, 10 more parking places, half of them will be on our land and the other half will be on somebody else's
Well,
land.
we have a set of documents that show where the property line is. I'll be able to figure that out.
Yeah.
And I figured out where the pipes went.
At the end of our parking lot, half of it belongs to Houston.
Okay.
We actually pay it over.
We can expand it by,
Okay, well, I think that's the report. Thank you.
Thank you.
That leaves, Heather, you up for this?
Did everybody get, I don't know, does anybody need one? You and Jay here?
I got one, I just stuck it in the file. You know how these files go.
Not me.
Okay. You sent one out?
I didn't have any questions.
No.
Oh, Kevin, here you go. Anybody else?
I think
I found mine.
All look good to me.
Yeah.
I didn't have any questions. I know what you were saying here in the overage, no, that's good.
The only thing I just want to point out, this is cash basis, this is not accrual. So I'm going to be working with Greg over the next couple of weeks because we have items that, the best example is like the National Grid bill that comes in January, but it's really December's bill. Just like January's 2013, there's things that will come out of there. So this is just basically cash basis. The only thing I want to bring to your attention is under the Friends of the Library. You can still see we've only received 2,500. I know they have a meeting next week.
Saturday this week.
Saturday, okay. Yeah, they're not gonna give us 12.5, they don't have that much to give us, but that number will be increased a little bit. So, hopefully this time next month, when I come back to you, we'll have an accrual-based report. This report's gonna be changing to some extent, because the next one you see will include, it will all be hopefully on one page, will include the Joshua Turner Fund, the Building Fund, and the Garden Fund. Not quite sure how we're doing it yet. May not look quite like this, maybe going the other way, but we want to be able to have them all on one page so we can see it on a monthly basis.
But you don't see any big issues coming up, huh? It's
No.
looking good, looking good now as far as cash.
Yeah,
basis
yeah, no,
goes.
yeah, I don't see any big issues coming up, no.
Get through within the budget or close to it. Right?
somehow, since we're getting into this technology and the check coming in, and something that might come in under a grant or a check,
Mhm.
is there gonna be a separate category
Well, there
identified
already is here
for-
for donations
And grants.
and grants, and we get small things that come and they're just normally
How
deposited.
do you track the library expenditure against, like,
Well, we budget for it,
Grant.
so if you look at the budget, at the beginning of the year, it was 14,000 that was budgeted, 14,230. That was based, I assume, on historicals. I don't have next year's budget in front of me. We based it on several years of historicals of where our donations run. So we build those are donations that are unrestricted, that people just show up and give $25 or $50 or $100. And so that's been built in there, just like it has historically. This $5,000 that was received, I had gotten a phone call from Greg saying we received a check for or might even be Ann, we received a check for $5,000. When I asked where it was from, there was no name or address at the top. It was from a bank or a mutual fund house or something. because of the size of the grant, I asked, well, what is it for? Is it just unrestricted? And that's when I heard, no, it's not. It's for the purposes of children's computers. And I said, okay, then we need a letter. And the question was, why do we have to have a letter? Because I said we need to come to the board. And A, does the board want to buy children's computers? If the board doesn't want children's computers, why are we accepting the money for children's computers? Should we go back to the person and say, we don't, would you still like to give the money, but for this purpose? Just because someone writes us a check and there's a restriction to it doesn't mean we need or should accept it. So I then talked to Les extensively about that. He told me what her intent was. I wrote a letter on letterhead for her, from her. I know that the letter is back with her signature on it. I don't have it. It's at the library in my box. I don't have it yet. I wanted to, I know it was on the list for tonight. I didn't want to steal Les's thunder.
This is a good time to
Yeah, I
talk
didn't want to
about it.
steal Les's
No.
thunder, but it comes down to, as we've talked about the Lally money, as we've talked about the building money, as the Friends money, whatever money, if someone provides it to us and they provide a restriction with it, we can choose to accept it or we can choose not to accept it. And so that's why I didn't want the money deposited, I didn't want accepted until the board had made the decision that that's what they wanted and that's what they wanted to do with it.
We still have to do that too.
Right, and that's what I would ask.
And I agree with what you said, 100%.
And that's why, it took a little work to get there, but, so I would like to ask for a resolution tonight to accept the $5,000 for the purposes of children's computers. And let me stop here. So if we don't want it for children's computers and we want to go back to the drawing board, right, with her, see, that's the tough part here. If she had said, I couldn't get a clear indication from Les. He went out and he secured this donation. He had what he thought was a need for the library, or what he saw as a need in talking to Lori and staff. That need has now changed. I don't have the skill set to know what the need is.
I have to, whenever you're done, I
I'm done.
have
Go
a
ahead.
clarification. Les told me it's not for children computer, for children's technology.
Children's technology, correct, that's what it says.
It's maybe considered, I'm sorry, as a technology, and Google Chrome tab, it's also technology. Computer is also technology, so we can very incentive by.
That's why I wrote because I put technology.
technology.
Does it mean a children's printer? Does it mean a children's
Yeah.
scanner? Does it mean children's software? And that's why you said, well, I want anything to do with children. So then that's why we put technology.
No, I understand you said she wants a plaque.
Yes, that was part of it.
She can ask for that.
Yeah, so in there I put that there would be some kind of,
Recognition.
Yeah,
Memory of my
recognition.
husband.
If
And-
it's
and
a center,
her
you could
husband's
put a
name.
stand up.
So the
Elite.
question
Yeah.
is, do you want it?
Do you want it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. she
Can you
wants
use it?
I will not refuse. I will say
I
yes.
move that we accept the
Good
grant,
answer.
Yeah.
deposit it
restrictions.
and bring the letter.
yep, and I'll send a letter around once I.
Second?
Second.
Okay,
Discussion,
okay, go.
I want to ask one.
Along these lines, I am a charter member of New Hartford Kiwanis,
Okay,
and as of a month ago, we dissolved New Hartford Kiwanis. One of our main fundraisers was what's called AMBA. AMBA is blood testing by somebody who comes from western New York State. They run a laboratory. There's one at the Uptown, right down from the theater. And they come to, Kiwanis raised $5,000 a year from it. And it took 5 hours on a Saturday morning. And it didn't take an awful lot of work. I proposed this to Sue Fountain. And Sue says she shudders at the sight of blood. So she kind of turned me off on that. It's in our hands if we want to work for it. And I'm agreeable to work. And I know how to get the money.
You mean the library would get the 5,000?
Yeah.
I'll work.
It's working one Saturday morning from 5:30 until 10 o'clock.
You bring the coffee and donuts and I'll be there.
It's part of the overhead. Yeah, part of the overhead. So that's.
So how complicated is this? I mean,
We just
does
have
it
to
take a
get,
genius to run this, or?
we have to get 150 or 200 people there. And
I
that,
mean, I'm concerned about the liability of touching people's bloods and all that stuff, is that?
we have insurance that I hope covers it. Kiwanis had insurance that covers it.
Well, we have insurance that I hope covers it.
I can't
It doesn't
hear you.
quite cover it for me.
So anyway, it's getting an ad in the OD, getting an ad in the Penny Saver, getting an ad in the Rome paper, the Old Forge paper, free. They're not news article. And
Kevin, that's a terrific idea, but you need to put it down on paper so we can all see what the
Sure, okay.
ramifications
Kevin?
are. And
Yeah.
I think you're getting a consensus, everybody would like to do it, but I just like to be darn careful about how we go about this.
oh, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Didn't they do a big mass mailing too? Seems to me
Isn't
I
worth
got
it.
a letter or
It isn't
something, a
worth it.
flyer.
No, it isn't worth it. It's,
Can we
especially
get
in the day.
Kiwanis's list of who showed up in past years?
What's that?
Could we get Kiwanis's list of who showed up for that?
AMBA keeps the list, we don't keep it.
Oh, okay.
And I can talk to the people at AMBA, I've got their phone number, and I think they'll talk to me.
It's a great idea, Kevin,
Yeah.
just give us some more detail.
Right.
Check the insurance.
It's almost holding your hand out and getting the money. They have to be there in the morning with coffee and donuts, orange juice, and Band-Aids.
Cookies or something, yeah.
You have to have the Band-Aids.
I always get a little nervous when we start messing around with medical
Yeah.
stuff.
It's
but-
okay. I have actually covered New York State, CPR and first aid.
There you go, you can get us when we faint, right?
Somebody passed out, somebody had a attack.
Yes, Ed.
Only
we
with,
vote on the $5, did we, $5,000? We didn't vote on that yet.
We're in
We have a
discussion.
first and a second.
Oh,
We're
we're
in
still,
discussion.
we're still in discussion.
we're discussion. We're
Okay.
discussing.
Kevin got in the middle of it.
My only request is, whether it pertains to this one or future acknowledgements of, and like I said, I agree with Heather that this must be recognized by the board as subject to our approval. But more important than that is, I would like to see these kinds of scenarios brought to the attention of each one of the trustees before we meet, much like we receive a lot of information by scanning and by email, as an attachment email. I think this is the first time I've seen it in a long time, and I really, really like it. But I think as a trustee, I would like to be knowledgeable of what I'm voting on, and if there's a letter or anything else, I would like to add my 10 cents, because I come from the, we think about the show me state there. I'd like to see it, I'd like to read it, so I understand it, much like you said, Jay, that with Kevin Kelly bringing in an idea, put it on paper. I ask only that we present this information to the board as a whole for their review, as it relates to donations or anything else like this, because I think it's important we understand the full ramification of our
Well, I think
responsibilities.
the only thing different that happened this time is it just happened to,
Yeah, no, I'm
it overtook, events overtook everybody.
I remember Les mentioning it too, but I think it's well intentioned.
Well, Les mentioned it at the end of the last
Right.
meeting, so this all kind of,
Jelly.
we're overcome by events here, so I understand.
I have one other suggestion about gifts when they come and when they're deposited. Then I think we need a more formal system of thank you. I think a letter should be generated on letterhead, typed, and Jay should sign it. I think you should send one of your own from the library itself.
Sure,
And I think
Yes.
we ought to keep a copy of at least one of those letters on the file so we know who these people
sure,
are.
absolutely.
And when they last
Take
paid.
her this week by Saturday.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay, let's move on.
We have to vote.
I know. Thanks.
Sorry. Don't want to miss the money.
Well, we're gonna be here till 11 o'clock.
What about on the president?
Can we vote?
Go ahead if you want. We had a motion, we had a second,
Also, no, Mary
It
did
was
not
a
second
second.
it.
Oh, okay.
so, all in favor?
Aye.
Is that unanimous?
The last item I have tonight is policy committee, it's not on there. Jay and I met, we thought there was a meeting, I don't know if there was or there wasn't, but we met anyway.
We met for a meeting that didn't happen.
That didn't
so.
happen.
It was never
We
advertised.
talked about the investment policy and the purchasing policy. They're quite long, they are based on state controller's template policy. I'm going to email them out to everyone in the next couple of days. The only thing I need input on, really, and give me all the input you want, but it's pretty standard, is with regards to the purchasing policy, the dollar number that we're going to permit the executive director to make singular choices on, and at what point we bring 3 quotes, 2 quotes. So I'll hone in on that, I'll highlight that. Feel free to email me your thoughts, so we get that done, but that's all I have.
Great.
How soon has it?
As soon as I get it typed, there was nobody at the library that could type it the past week. It got started, and so I'm going to have to do it. So it's when I can get time to get it typed.
Okay, thanks.
So you're done, Heather?
Yeah.
If we start doing the committee reports, you've already done yours, all of yours, right? Your committee report. So that means finance, that should take care of that. Nominating, Mary?
The only thing I have is a reminder to the people who were recently appointed that you have 30 days to take your oath of office at Butler Hall. Great.
Does that include people that are re-up?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So you've done it also, and
Yeah.
So,
you haven't done it yet.
okay, so you
Got
gotta,
30
So you're
days.
not
I have
legal
30
tonight.
days.
You're not legal for a vote tonight.
you gotta leave the room.
Oh,
No, he's
yeah.
not.
He's got 30 days.
No, he's
No.
not legal.
His term ended the
No, he's
31st.
not legal.
The
That's
letter I got from the town said I had 30 days.
30 days for your swearing in, but you still are not legal to vote.
That's right, your term ended the 31st.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
You swore.
Just a mere
Let's-
formality.
Let's
that's all.
move
I
on.
can't believe that. Kevin, you have anything building the ground?
Well, I see you've replaced me, thank you very much.
Yes, thank you so much, Jan. No, we both appreciate it. Yeah, thank you so much, sir.
If I had anything, I'm not gonna tell you anyway.
Oh, you have to remember, you're still the anchor in that committee, you know.
Well,
I'm just trying to help you avoid the nagging phone call.
yeah. Okay.
Okay, well, Ed, you have anything to say about buildings and grounds?
No, the cog's holding up as far as,
So there's no leaking in the room downstairs?
so far so good.
That's what did it, you know. Technology and transparency,
Okay, one thing that came up was, we were talking periodically about changing our the web page. And at the meeting the other night, it seemed that the town is also doing that.
Well,
That was brought up, and we might possibly latch on to what they're going into.
That's a
and
great
find out
idea.
what they're going into.
what they're doing is something totally different, Heather, than the town, from what I understand. In the functionality of the library, they've got kids at the local colleges, which I would ask the board to consider, from either Mohawk Valley, SUNY, or even Utica College. They will come here and do a bang-up job on putting together a web page, either on a work-study program or as an invitation. We don't have the qualifications of anyone to do that, and what we do have, we've been criticized by Quadsimia, who was invited to the board a couple of years ago, and they indicated that our website was in very poor design, and that they included a rendering of what could be done, and it would have cost us at that time $20,000 to put together. However, given that,
That's why it didn't happen.
$20,000 by whom?
by Quadsimia, that's the estimate he provided. Annual contract, 20,000, was between 20 and 22,000 for the setup.
5% of our budget.
yeah,
Well,
it's not gonna happen.
but no, and what I'm saying is, you've got these kids out there that are so well advanced, more than myself, more than anyone we have in the library in its current status. I think that's something else, you know, we could direct to the library director and put some feelers out and have these kids come in and say, hey, demonstrate what you could do for us. I do know that the people down at the Dunham Public, no, what, Dunham? Yeah, Dunham Public Library, they had their own staff put together. But they had people, I guess, that were a little more knowledgeable. But these kids are out there, and why not use these resources and recognize them for their abilities? Because we've got some scenarios here going on. I think we could reallocate some of the resources because we don't get the biggest buck from some of our current assets. And I think by using these kids to come in and develop the website in a functional approach, it could be a win-win for the library.
Well, okay, that's not a bad idea, but let's assure that, that in fact, what the town is doing is nothing that can help us.
From what I understand, but.
Well,
Yeah.
we need to just assure ourselves,
Yeah.
that's all. I don't want to miss an opportunity to
Oh, no.
piggyback on something if it's going to help us.
The
We
problem.
can actually have an interns. Some students can work for free
Exactly.
for experience,
Mhm.
but they need to be kind of interns. They can put it in their resume. If I just
Exactly.
am hired, I need help, but if it's intern,
Yeah, we have to be
need
very specific about what we want them to do and accomplish.
Specific position, web developer intern, and open this, it's be free.
I like
Just
that.
internship, and
Mhm.
they got experience, we got the website. Now it's poor, right?
Okay, well, you should probably look into that.
Yeah, I
Talk
just
to Ed
need
about
to
it.
know.
Yeah. I mean, I've got contacts at Utica College,
And I think we
assuming.
need to establish exactly what we want on that website
Yes.
and how often you want it
Well, yeah,
updated.
Yes,
we have to
yes.
have some kind of
Train somebody to
a,
be able
outline.
to do the
yeah.
updates.
Yes, just
We have to have
maybe
a set
extra
of goals.
meeting on
We
this,
can't just
yes.
have people come in and say, give us something, we need to get some goals.
Yeah,
What we want exactly.
Right.
Yeah, and I will work on it.
okay.
I'd like to bring some history to that.
Okay.
Roy Sen now does our website, to the best of my knowledge. And Roy is with us because when we built the library, we bought the computers, Mid-York said we had to have somebody here on site to make sure they ran. And Roy's, to the best of his ability, has kept us up to date on that. If we give 20,000 to the kids, as you said.
No.
This is free.
No,
This
absolutely
is in
not.
kind, it's in
Okay.
kind.
It's free. It's
Oh,
free.
okay.
It's donated
We still have
time.
to have Roy for
Um,
maintain,
Not true, because you've got, if you look at the contract with Mid-York Library, they are supposed to be providing us technical expertise.
They do.
Yeah, in part. However, Roy Sen does not have the qualifications as the kids do today. He was from the old school. This is new school. We've asked Roy, and what Roy has put together is not conducive to what other libraries have. He doesn't have the skills, the skill
But I
codes.
think Kevin brings up a very good point. You can have all the interns you want, create a website.
Mhm.
It's about the maintenance, about people over a period of time.
I
Plus it's-
agree.
Plus it's the hardware, it's the wiring. There's a lot to Mr. Sen's job description other than specific. to
Well,
building
obviously,
it.
we're not gonna do anything with the computers without, that he's not gonna be aware of and he's gonna understand.
Oh, he's
I'm
he's a
not
very bright
suggesting-
individual.
I'm not suggesting that we cut him out.
And now actually web development training will happen on March 27. It's open for staff, for public, and it's be more and more and more. I would like to
Okay,
go.
all right.
Good.
Sure game. Okay.
Great.
Okay, policies and procedures.
Okay.
John?
You said we missed one policies meeting.
Well, that
I
was
never-
a,
It was a problem.
it was a meeting set up from the previous meeting, and I guess Heather and I didn't figure out that you canceled it because we didn't look it up. So we sat here a few minutes and left. We didn't say nice things about you, though.
No, I can't believe it. Alina has prepared about 5 to 6 policies she'd like changed, so I'm going over them, and I want to try and have that ready for our next committee meeting.
You know, I think it'd be a good idea, like, we're gonna give Ed some time at this meeting to talk about his committee. I think we should kind of zero in and have a committee give us a really in-depth report of what they're doing at each meeting. One committee with a special in-depth.
Okay.
Ed's doing his today. If you want to do yours next month, then you can come and show us all the
Might be
policies. All right, well, if it's not ready, let me know in advance and we'll ask someone else.
Yeah, okay.
February 5th.
Yes.
You know, because we all get kind of a quick look at it and we
Yeah,
go
I'll give
away
you a whole
from
listing of everything we looked at it in the status report on that. Okay, the other thing is policies and procedures is, every year, we're asked to sign some documents, well, I'll bring it up now. And one is the conflict of interest disclosure, and the other one is the ethics acknowledgement form. So I'd like to pass these out now.
I'm not gonna sign either one, I'm gonna abstain.
You can do that. Now, put it in the file that way.
Are these the updated ones or these old ones? Because
These
I
are
think
the
they,
old ones being used.
they need to be reviewed, and I would ask you to defer that until the board redevelops those ethics. Because I've got some serious issues with that, and we're not really in compliance with it. And that's why to sign something that I feel uncomfortable with, I think we're in a new era. We can coordinate with the board president and see what his position is, but I do believe the ethics documents need serious updating like everything else. And I ask that it be deferred.
Is there a time limit on this?
No.
We usually do it at the January meeting, but if not, I can come later and I could.
All right, what exactly, are you saying, Ed, that you're unhappy with the form itself?
And
Not the form, probably with the policy.
Policy.
Okay.
Would you like to come up with a plan on it then,
Well,
and
I
review
did
it?
one time, but it was shelved, but I have it on my computer. and I'll share it
What, you
with
want
the
to send an
officers.
email of what your ideas are
I'll
on
send it to
or-
the officers and I'll let them, if they feel that's where they want to go with it, and then present it to the full board. I have no
So
problem.
this is whether you want to
The
sign
decision-
these the way they are, or should we bring it to a board vote?
Well, what's the downside? I'm waiting. Is there a downside? Are we?
I have no idea.
Are we risking something?
I don't know. Do you have any background on that? I know
Well,
each
then, you
meeting-
know-
No, and I don't remember what the complaints were about the forms
Well,
as is either.
if in fact we have an opportunity to improve something without taking any risk, let's do it.
All right.
Okay?
So I would say as long as we have a goal to get it done by the next meeting, probably.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, is that gonna be a problem?
Yeah.
It's not- It won't be a problem for you because you won't know.
You've
right?
got the work done, right?
Uh-huh.
In your opinion.
Yeah,
Only
so
subject's
you've got to
gotta be
work
reviewed
out
by
what
the
you want the
board.
new policies to be.
As a trustee, why would it just go to the officers?
Well, I'd ask them for what they feel, in other words, I would go to them only because of the chain of command, that then they can set it on the agenda, that if this is what they want, the board officers.
I think we all should be able to review it.
I do too.
I think we all should be.
I don't, it's,
You've all got them.
No,
The old ones.
his opinion. of
Oh,
those.
your opinion.
Well, why
Well-
don't you pass around the old ones, because then if that is gonna email his revisions
Good idea.
to everybody,
That's what
we
it
can
is, yeah.
compare.
So if you got it done, we should get it soon. We should have it.
Let's look at the old
If anybody
one.
else has it changed, they
If
should
you,
get it
if you
back
send
to
it to us, I'm gonna ask you to send to everybody, is that okay?
no, that's fine, no, I don't want to.
No, I understand what you're saying, and let's just cut out the extra step. Let's, everybody look at it, and let's have some discussion about it.
The old and the new.
Talking about now or later, going to keep the forms or?
I would like you to
distribute
distribute the forms to the people.
the forms? And the signatures, I'm
Trustees
getting
here.
them their old signatures from over
Oh.
time.
I would keep those,
Oh,
Right,
oh.
till next time.
yeah. 'cause
All
you
right,
need those.
Then can you email us a typical form that we're gonna sign? That you're asking us to sign today?
What the form is, what's in the file?
Okay,
I
what,
don't know if I can, because I don't have a way of scanning the forms and putting them in the computer.
Does it allow
If
you-
you like, we can do it. I just need the forms, we scan it and put it in
Let's,
computer and email as attachment.
I'm not comfortable
Together
with
with letter.
spreading those things out if they got all the signatures on there.
No, I-
Board documents.
Not if they're-
In blank format.
Yeah, I'm talking about blank,
Yeah,
yeah.
blank. That's what I.
May I ask, you're talking about the ethics statement for one form?
Yes,
Code of conduct
yes,
and the conflict of interest, all three of those?
yes.
It's all
Okay.
correct.
Anybody have a problem with that?
No problem, I just.
No.
I think, like I said before, if we have an opportunity to improve something that's not gonna cost us anything, let's do it.
And you've seen the forms. I sent, or I told you where to get them.
Well,
In the library.
If
And you
you,
did.
if you, when you get home and read your paper, you'll find out that you're on this committee to look at this stuff, so. You know, you saw that. You guys sneaked peek, I
I
see.
did.
John, now that we've
I completely
completely
I send them out.
destroyed your method,
Take a motion to hold it. Do we need a motion? I don't.
No.
it doesn't sound like we're making any change of rules or anything, so it's, I'm asking you to, get blank forms scanned at the library so that we can all look at them in concert with what I'm asking Ed to send us. And then we can all get involved in this, we certainly don't hold back when it comes to sending emails around, so if you got some ideas, let's throw them around,
Sure.
okay? And I think that we should make a point that we want to be really, really close to settling what this is at the next meeting.
Okay. And Melina has given her a copy of all the forms, and she said she'll send out a copy. And that's
3 page
the one for the
conflict of interest.
conflict of interest. We also have one for the
Okay.
ethics form.
Give me all 3, so I can. And last one?
Now, that looks like just the form to sign, that's not
Yes.
the document itself.
Yes,
Right.
exactly.
And you're talking about the
it,
document itself, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The,
actual words.
So you have
the
to-
words.
I
Yeah,
haven't
the
given you
words.
either policy.
Now, the only thing that, and I,
these things,
yes.
that's what you're talking about,
The
not
thing-
what he's handing.
Right. The thing is here, this should apply to the library employees as well, not just the board of trustees or the library director. It's across the board.
I don't have a
So
policy.
that's the
We'll
way.
wait for Ed's personnel presentation.
Well, that's not part of it.
Okay, well then that kind of goes back to you then.
This is a policy.
Yeah.
There is a notebook where he sent me,
Yes.
Yes.
and I think it was section 13, section 16, and section 10.
13, 16,
conduct,
and
that's what
10,
you're-
I
right?
believe so.
Okay, I
Conduct
can
for
look.
employees.
That's the,
For employees.
Okay.
So that's why you can't,
But just.
it's a different code of conduct, than the code of conduct in the library.
Well, we'll take a peek at that.
Okay.
Let me look at
If
it.
it's never been
Okay,
done.
so this.
Well, they have to sign
something
this.
I remember
This one now,
you
yeah,
mentioned
but
3.
they've never
I
had to
have
do it
2, I
in
have conflict of interest and
The
ethics.
last one had something.
and code of conduct.
Well, maybe last year.
Yes, I need.
No, no, the
Okay,
last policy.
now.
Oh, no,
we-
policy.
Okay, I have all 3. And this one it's look like.
That's not the
That's
full.
not the one.
No, it's not the one.
There's
Yeah,
still one
conflict of
policy
interest.
that's not.
It's kind of.
Well, can we do this at another time so that we don't
Yes.
keep?
Go.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't care how long it takes, as long as I get everything done.
Thank you. Thank you.
Finally, Ed,
Okay, hey, thanks, Jane.
you're gonna turn the light on and blind me again, right?
I'm ready, here it comes, buddy.
Did you want approval to be spokespersons of the board?
Ah, you're right, I skipped myself. Actually, I did that on purpose.
Let's do that, it only takes a second while he's setting up.
How's that?
We need to have somebody who's a spokesperson for the board, needs to be approved by the board.
Yes.
I
Suggestion
move
is that
that-
it's probably me.
I move that the president is a spokesman for the board
Why is that?
and no other.
I just one exception, I agree with that in principle, and we've talked to Jay, and that was part of his speech. We have, as long as we comply with the law, and as long as we comply with the rule and regulation, where we as a trustee speak out of turn, we have an obligation pursuant to the governance standards as set forth by the State of New York Education Department. That's where we have an issue. And I agree that our board president is the spokesperson, but where we as a trustee feel where something is going awry, we need to bring it to the board's attention, to the board president. And if action isn't taken, then it becomes an issue for that trustee to do whatever they has to, because remember, within the library, we have something called the whistleblower law. And if you retaliate against any employee, against any trustee, you are subject to civil penalties.
Okay, okay.
So I just want to let everybody know about that. But I don't see that under our new board president's rules, so I agree.
Okay, and all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, yes. Do I hold visitation? Okay, aye.
Can't vote.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, I can't vote. I'm out.
Back of the room.
Yeah.
Rewind.
Okay, and sorry we got
It's
long to
okay.
get there,
It's
but
okay.
Carbone savings,
Okay.
carbon.
For Janet, Janet, about, I guess it's been 5 months, or 4 months. 4 months, the Personnel Committee was reorganized, and we started, the Personnel Committee, Heather, Rich, Mary, Les Courtwright, who's not here, and most recently Elena has been with us, okay? And we looked at, the first thing we did was, you'll find that we were all given some stacks of papers, and the personnel policy was part of that stack, and it was just kind of not where it needed to be. And so the first order of business was to review it and revise it if necessary, and draft a copy for the board, okay? So that's what we've been doing for the last 4 months. We are now at a point, board, that the committee believes we are ready to, with your approval, to submit these policies as in draft form for legal review to make sure that we've got the i's dotted, the t's crossed, and that we're complying with all current regulation and laws. Well, with that said, overall, what we did was in a very big
excuse me,
way.
Ed, can I ask you who the legal review is gonna be?
Rich has got some
Oh, okay,
folks
so
that he's,
we've got something lined up.
yeah, some pro bono
I'm
stuff.
looking for
Okay, thank
somebody
you.
pro bono that's highly qualified.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We did some things that really don't show up here because it was a matter of formatting. It was a matter of presenting the information in a way that was logical in its progression and in categories, if you will. So we did that by kind of shuffling some page numbers around, combining some redundant documents, and so that's where we're at with that. So that's throughout this policy, with no major change to content in that way. Some of the major changes to content that we recommend are going to be in red here, and they were in red when I sent it to the board. Sorry, Janet, I didn't have it last week, I guess it was, for your review. I haven't received any feedback for changes or questions, so tonight, please feel free. I'm going to go, very quickly through this. It shouldn't take 30 minutes, and just go over some of the major issues. And there are 2 that we need your help on tonight going forward. Okay?
I don't remember getting it. Could you, I might have lost it. Could you send me another one sometime?
Okay, you betcha. And the other.
And can I have your first page in Word, not under PDF? You have that?
I do.
What is the first page?
I send it, just the first page?
I'd like it as Word.
Okay, you
It's a
got it.
Word document.
You got it. No problem. Okay, so with that said, and just for page numbering purposes, y'all, the table of contents is at the end. You probably saw that when I sent it out.
The only thing I want to add is something I kind of tripped over across last week. 2 weeks ago, the governor signed the non-for-profit, there's a title to it, some kind of act that affects 501s in the state.
Okay.
And whistleblower laws. So I don't have it. It might be something you want to look up so that if you're going to do this, we don't come back and have to do it again in July.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think some of that catch-all stuff will go into a letter to the attorney saying, please, if there's additional new stuff that has been.
But it would have to be something, and I'm not going to belabor this, but it's, a lot of attorneys don't have a lot of depth in non-for-profit law. This is explicitly dealing with non-for-profit law, and I don't do much with non-for-profits, but
Okay.
I'll get you the small thing that I have.
Great.
It's quite long, though.
Great, yeah, send it and I'll.
This flew by me today, to do with the sewer tax. Do we get money back on that now?
We're supposed to be.
Well, why don't we do this first, and if we just want to talk about it after, because that's the middle of his
Okay,
presentation.
the categories that we, that, actually, this was Rich's real good input, he had a lot of good stuff in here. Introduction, we combined our overall human resource philosophy, that was kind of 3 or 4 different documents that we put together, the EEO, affirmative action stuff, immigration law, discrimination, harassment, and safety we put into the introduction. There's a welcome that you'll see from the board to new employees as well. And then another major part is employee status and record keeping. The next major category was employee benefits, and we'll discuss some things there that the committee is proposing to you tonight. And payroll, working conditions, and hours is the next major category. There's one thing there that we'd like to get your employee conduct. Okay, this is not, this is employee conduct as it relates to the workplace. This is not a, this is policy. This isn't a code of conduct or a ethics form that would be separate and apart from policy. Miscellaneous, and there's some things in here, recycling membership dues, these kinds of things that we bucketed into miscellaneous. And so, with that, we kept the welcome identical. Okay, you guys have had a chance to review it, and I hope that it's good. It looked good to us. There'll be a cover page as well. The introduction. Again, if there's any questions, all this stuff I'm going to go through doesn't have any red marks in it. It was combined. It's all the same content in just a different format. Our human resource policies. I'm not going to go verbatim. I'm just going to go until we hit a red mark with our changes.
So essentially, you've taken all the policies and reformatted them and modernized them and put them in one spot.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah. And John, to John's overall formatting for all of our documents, the one thing that's not formatted yet is the letterhead that John wants to use just for page 1, and the font. This is Calibri. John, I'm going to go to the, you wanted 12 times Roman, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what I'll do.
It might shift pages if it's a little larger, but that won't change anything.
What's that?
It might shift pages or something.
Okay. Yeah, that's okay. I'll take care of that. All right. The first thing, this was Alina's input. This is an addition to it. It's for civil service employees. We had all of our temporary, introductory. We left that all in there, but we discussed there's really only 2 types. There's exempt and non-exempt. But at the end of the day, we left everything in there and included the civil service statement for civil service employees.
And what is that definition? So who is a civil service employee?
Whoever is required to have civil service certification. That's going to be Elena.
It's by job classification.
It's by job classification, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Performance evaluations. Let me talk real briefly about that. On our meeting on Friday coming, Elena has asked the committee to assist in developing, not the specifics of the job performance reviews and objectives and reviews for employees, but the overall strategy, if you will, where performance evaluations really come into play, driving behavior towards the short and long-term goals of the library. In format, the objectives, maybe some big bucket categories that Elena can be free to tune any way she needs to, but we'll begin to help her develop that on Friday, which is our next scheduled meeting. Personnel files, we included this. This is the director's maintained by the president of the board of trustees. We included this. That wasn't there. The director is responsible to maintain all other employee personnel files.
Are those in your office now, Lena?
It's moving now in my office.
Do you have any? Are there personnel files? Okay. Just wondering.
It's moving.
Yeah, are they locked? 'Cause and that's probably something we should go over about what needs to be in their I-9s and W-4s and all that good stuff that I don't know that's there. I would hope it is, but.
Yes.
And you're gonna make sure they're locked, Lena?
As soon as they come, they will be all locked, and I have a key and senior clerk. 2 person hold.
We've talked about this. This was never in our personnel policies under benefits, and this is strictly health insurance as we deliver it today to our employees. Okay, it's for regular full-time employees, and we pay 100% of individual employee coverage. If the employee wishes and chooses the family plan, then the additional cost above the individual is their responsibility. And we do it today, you guys have seen it, we've talked about it, it's in there now.
Now, regular full-time employees, is that defined somewhere?
Yes, we just,
Here?
Yes.
yeah, we just went through it, but it's in there. Now, here's where we need your help. This is time off. The committee, Rich did a study of comparable libraries and the private sector. And although across the board our benefits were right in the middle, pretty much even pay and that kind of stuff, there was one glaring thing out there. And that is that we give some very liberal days off benefits to our part-time employees. That is not, we couldn't find a library that gave any type of time off benefits to their employees, and I didn't know of any in the private sector, and neither did Rich. So here's what we're recommending. For example, under vacation, right now it says regular full-time employee, who's eligible but for this policy, regular full-time employees and regular part-time employees is what was there. Now we're asking the board to consider to grandfather in our existing part-time employees with these benefits. The committee felt the deal was a deal, and that's the way it is. So we're asking you to consider anytime you see this, regular part-time hired before the date after legal review and the date that the board approves finally these policies. Okay? And anybody hired prior to that date, whatever date that is, hopefully by the end of the first quarter, you grandfathered into these benefits. Those benefits include vacation. There are two schedules for vacation. A regular FTE, as you see, and a regular part-time employee, as you see. It's pretty much a half of what a full-time employee gets. And so it's a very liberal and very nice perk for a part-time employee. And we're not recommending, it's for your consideration. We recommend the grandfathered in. If you have another idea on that, please feel free to let us know. So that's our holidays. The same thing. Right now, a regular part-time employee gets paid for the holiday, the day that they're off. They may not even be scheduled to work, but on a holiday they still get benefits associated with the 8 holidays that we have. Now, just for your information, we do have Mother's Day still on there. We talked about that. This was, but what the deal is that there's 8 holidays. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 holidays. Okay, and that is right in line with anybody else. You can change Mother's Day to something else if you wanted to. You could do it the Friday after Thanksgiving if you wanted to. But at the end of the day, we felt that the library employees themselves felt that Mother's Day, Sunday, was something that they wanted to have as a holiday. And so the number of days doesn't change. And if this is what the employees wanted, well, why not?
Could we have it as a floating holiday? Instead of Mother's Day?
Somebody might want Father's Day.
Yeah.
Well, we talked about
That's a good
we
point.
talked about
I
that, Janet.
agree.
We talked about that too. Yeah, we
Can't
talked
be
about that
and
too.
it's discriminatory, to be honest with you.
All right, hey,
It is.
that's fair.
Technically, it's
A
discriminatory.
lot of municipal governments have a floating holiday.
Just
There's
pull
no
it and
business
make
on
one
Mother's
floating
Day.
holiday? So pull Mother's Day and make one floating holiday? Is
I
that
like
the?
Janet, where's Father's Day? You know, where's Grandfather's Day?
One floating holiday at the discretion of the director.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it's fine.
Okay, this was already, okay, let me, I'm gonna make a note of that here, so
Yeah.
not to waste any time.
Yeah.
For Mother's Day and floating holiday. Okay. This was already in the policy, just, we had a discussion on this right before the holidays this year. Earlier closing times related to Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve are at the discretion of the director. Okay? So it was already in there. I didn't know at the time we were having the discussion, you know, this is one bullet point in this whole policy, but there it is. So that question has been answered regarding the eves of those holidays. Sick leave, the same thing. Okay?
Why can't we just put a date in now? Because if it's only going to be subject for legal review, the earlier we implement it, the longer, the earlier it starts. I mean, legal
Yeah, but-
review will not touch that.
But it would not be approved. The policies wouldn't be approved, Eddie.
It's gotta be voted upon.
You know what I'm saying? It's
You don't
got to be
want
voted upon.
retroactive.
Yeah.
It's the date the policy is adopted, is what you're saying.
Yes, sir.
That makes sense.
We're not hiring anybody anyways right now.
No, I didn't think of that, Rich.
Okay, bereavement leave, the same thing. Personal leave, the same thing. Jury duty, the same thing.
It's killing us.
And military leave, that's okay. And workers' comp. So I guess before we go through the rest of this and we ask for a motion to go to legal, is everybody cool with the committee's recommendation regarding grandfathering in the current part-time employees under these conditions, but subsequent to approval of the minutes, that those benefits don't exist for part-time
I think
employees?
that's great.
I agree.
Right.
I
All right,
agree.
I'll make a motion in a second.
I don't
Okay.
know about that.
We don't need a motion yet. I'll just,
Can I just make a comment?
Yep.
It was my understanding that part of the reason our budget has been held so low for so long compared to similar libraries is because we have so many part-time employees. And a lot of these part-time employees not only work for little money, but a lot of them have volunteered. You won't believe the amount of volunteer hours they have put in because we couldn't afford to pay
But aren't they
them
being
for additional
grandfathered in?
hours.
I think that they were suggesting.
They're being grandfathered in.
They're being
It's
grandfathered in.
irrelevant.
But I don't see that policy, if we change the policy and we replace these people as they leave and get older, we may not get the same kind of loyalty from new people coming in.
I
And-
disagree.
Well, Fisher, I thought.
Well, that's kind of where I am. I mean, I think things like,
You know, it's a good thought, but it's pretty elusive. It seems like we are trying to move our policy forward to get in line with everybody else, and we're doing it in the least offensive way to the people that already work there. So the people that work there deserve our consideration because they came there and that was the deal, and I agree with you, Ed, 100%. But if we're trying to move to a little more streamlined system with a few less benefits, I think in the long run, it's better for us. I understand what you're saying, Mary, about, maybe we won't be able to find good people, but everybody has the same problem.
and Mary, what I might say is that if it becomes a problem,
you can always
we
change it.
we can always review it, and all of these things are subject
Fair
to change.
And I think operationally, for efficiencies for Alina, it's gonna be a huge benefit for her operating the library, and I think we have to be cognizant of that. We really do. We have a limited budget, and when you have, part-time people taking a lot of vacation time, it's very costly,
It is.
and I know how hard it is to run an operation with excessive vacation time. It's very difficult.
Fair enough.
I'm in agreement.
All right, thanks. Educational assistance,
Wait a
payroll.
minute, could you go back to 16? I think there's a spelling something or other.
Is it spelling?
If you want to catch it, there's a back slice,
M.
16.
/M.
You've got a back, like a back mark M right
Fourth
in the
line,
middle.
fourth
This
line
will
from the
enable-
bottom.
This will enable something.
And eligible,
Oh,
N,
school.
A-N. And eligible employee,
Yeah.
it should be A-N.
Instead
Yeah.
of,
We're not gonna take that
It's a
more time
typo.
doing punctuation, are we?
No,
That's okay, we
good
got it.
point. Good point.
Then take, thanks, John.
Thanks, John, but he can do his own.
We can do a
spell
final
check.
edit. We'll do a final edit.
That's something
No, wait a
spell check
minute.
doesn't-
John will do a final edit.
No, John, I thought you were saying.
This is under pay deductions, this was not included, this is another rich input here, along with I got obviously all the standard deductions, but along with any mandated garnishments, which, you know, could be child support, could be anything, okay?
Sounds ugly, but it's true.
But it's true.
It's unfortunate.
It's unfortunate, but it's true. Work schedules.
Can I just ask a question?
Yep.
With regards to this, do we deduct for disability, like you can deduct like 60 cents a week
We
or?
have to, right?
You don't have to, no, it's optional.
Oh, then I don't know.
Do you
It's like
know,
60
Leo?
cents a pay period. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know?
Do we have a disability policy?
Double check.
Okay,
I
you might,
need to write down notes for
Yeah.
I
myself.
want to write that down, disability, if we gotta throw that in there.
Yeah, we should. It's only like 60 cents a pay period.
60
Wasn't
cents,
sure.
yes, for this.
I wasn't
Something
clear
like
was
that,
optional.
yeah.
I thought that was mandatory.
no, it's
actually.
optional.
Okay.
And for what is it?
Disability.
disability.
New York State disability insurance.
Okay?
Okay, Ed, go.
Okay, disability insurance. Here's another thing we need your, currently, our work schedule includes full-time employees is a 37.5-hour work week. Now, it really doesn't mean anything because we are under no obligation whatsoever to pay anything additional to, in New York State, you can ask a full-time employee to work as long as you want them to, with no additional salary, with no additional salaries or compensation. But it is in the policies, it's 37.5 work week. Elena's brought it to our attention that for years, we've been operating under a 40-hour work week. And I might also say that we go above and beyond the law in this regard, in that anything over 40 hours that a full-time employee works, we give them time for time off. So if they work 41, we give them an additional hour off. We don't pay them. We shouldn't be paying them for that hour, but give them additional time off. Okay?
Is that legal?
Yes,
And is that in the policy?
yes. It's in the policy. It's there
At what level do they not get that?
at any level. If they're a full-time employee, salaried,
So even like the director, the children's librarian, the reference librarian get that?
No
Don't they have to work till
professional
the job is
employees.
done?
Not right,
Yes.
yeah.
if they're an exempt employee, not hourly full-time, but an exempt salaried employee, again, there's no compensation necessary to be given, but we as a library give them, you know, a tit for tat.
Count time.
Time off,
That's
yeah.
content, right, exactly.
How many of those employees do we have?
Three.
Two.
Just two?
Two.
Please another,
Used to be-
see,
used to be.
professional employees, it's not under this, it just apply for full-time, non-professional employees
So
only.
there are two salary
And we
employees.
have two, we have senior page priest and senior clerk, one.
And you.
And
No,
No,
I'm
she's
a
professional.
professional
She's
employee.
Okay, non-professional
Mary,
salary.
I
got
and
it.
Ruth, professional was not, but just two non-professional and full-time, Alexander and Chris.
Understood, okay.
Okay, so I guess the question is, the committee would like to recommend that we change this to 40 hours per week, to one, be in line with what we've been doing and what the law is. Is that okay?
I agree.
Yes,
Okay.
I agree.
Okay.
Makes sense. I thought we were the,
Well, we're doing it, it's just not in the policy.
oh,
It's a new insert.
yeah, because that's what I saw in the
Okay.
time sheet, they're showing 40 hours.
Here it is, Heather. Well, actually, no, overtime is, it's in there for full-time, for exempt employees, but this was not in there. Okay, so this is new. I mean, it should have been in there, but it's not. Regarding overtime for all non-exempt employees. This is strictly the law, New York and federal law. Overtime compensation paid in all non-exempt at the rate of 1.5 times the employee's regular rate of pay for hours worked in excess of 40 hours in 1 week. The wording in that is right out of the law. So that's just something to bring to your attention that is now in there, okay? And Elena brought that to our attention that it wasn't.
That's a good point.
Okay. Okay, and this is Rich input here. Regular full-time shall be, this is for emergency closings, shall be paid as per federal and state regulations. Okay, now while we left that ambiguous because it's just something that changes and something that is different if you are scheduled to work, not scheduled to work, and all those different deals. Elena will have full access to those regulations, and should we have to close for an emergency blizzard or power outage or whatever the case may be,
It's minimum hours you gotta pay.
there's minimum hours that we're gonna have to pay if you show up. For example, if a part-time employee shows up and all of a sudden they were there for an hour, then there's a certain amount of hours that you gotta pay.
You put in there
Okay.
who they go to get permission to close or like,
Yeah, it's right in there.
it is.
It's right in there, line item.
Yep. Okay, let's see, we're getting through this, okay.
Good job.
You guys did a great job.
This is something that Kevin will take up. This is something that the committee would like to recommend to the board, regarding the smoking policy. Right now, obviously we don't smoke in the building, but we'd like to designate an area away from the building as a smoking area, and possibly, I don't know, maybe this could be something that's part of the capital project that, or the grant that Alina's looking at, build some type of a small structure, hut, or something that, gets them out, gets smokers out of the weather, and provides a nice place for them to relax.
Does it have to be an enclosure?
Nope,
No.
Or can it just be a space?
it'd just be a space,
It can be a
What about
space.
everything else?
and it'd just be a designated
Do any
area.
of the staff smoke?
I know Breakers smoke, this I know for sure, and maybe 2 more, 3 staff.
Oh.
And
It's not just for employees.
maybe
Well,
also.
yeah, but the patrons don't have to smoke. They're there to use the library and then go home.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you a stupid question though.
Yeah.
I was
With
thinking
regard
if
to
there was
smoking, are they given time off to
nobody-
smoke or what?
That, the committee talked about that, the committee talked about putting in place right here, schedule, a 15-minute smoke break in the morning, but we're leaving that up to the director. This is a
Right.
policy, so we didn't get into the details, that's up to the director.
I think that's a director to look at it as
Yeah.
excessive.
Yeah, I mean,
break
You got a
time,
chain smoker.
yeah,
You wouldn't
That's
believe-
up to you.
It's,
break time.
I've seen, you wouldn't believe.
Well, I'm sure
some
where
stuff
you
on
were.
this.
okay, so in any event, we'll leave that in there, and the BG, the BG committee will take a look at it and make a recommendation to the board regarding that, if that's okay with you guys. Okay, problem resolution. Miscellaneous, we're getting right through this. I think the only thing in miscellaneous is gonna be the,
Membership dues, right?
yeah, membership dues, business travel expense, we put miscellaneous. Membership dues, okay, we put this here. Right now, there's only 2 positions that we felt should be reimbursed after the board has approved, the memberships themselves, and that's of course Elena and Ann, okay, for membership dues associated with profession. Now, that's something up for discussion. If the board wants to go with anybody who wants to, become a member of a board-approved society or organization, we'll certainly entertain that as well. Right now, we're recommending that it's for those 2 positions.
Yeah, I like that.
I'm gonna turn the light off now.
Yes, sir.
Weren't membership dues normally the name of the library, not the position? Like New Hartford Public Library, Syosset Public Library, Dunham Public Library?
Depends on what you're a member of.
Yeah, some of them are bad people. I mean, if it's an association of members or something.
Yeah, like the Rotary Club.
Yeah.
If Elena wants to
That's
pay her dues,
in
we're gonna
town.
reimburse her for the Rotary
Oh,
Club.
no, I'm all for it. No,
Okay.
I'm all for it.
Well,
If we join the ALA, that would be in the library's name.
this is my daughter's, which is top computer.
Power off, are you sure?
Okay. With that.
Well, that's it?
That's it?
Now, are we creating a motion? We started a motion.
Yes, now I would like to make a motion that the board approve this draft personnel policy after, subject to taking out Mother's Day, replacing it with a floating holiday at the discretion of the director, and the word I'm looking for. Deduction withholding, if that needs to be put in place. So under the, what's that?
And there's one more too,
A full letter by John.
and the date. You want to put it in.
Yeah, well, no, the date we're gonna leave blank.
Until after the policy.
Until it's,
But it's going to be the date of the policy is approved.
Right,
And spell checking by John.
yeah.
If you send it to me in Word.
I think that's a Jim Kirkpatrick job. over
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. Just had it.
Quietly, what happened?
Well, it was because of Mr. Kirkpatrick that we were able to do this. So with those,
That's a wonderful job, by the way.
yeah, well, thanks. It's a great committee. You guys have done a nice, really nice job, kept this on the timeline. So with that, with those changes, I'd like to make a motion that the board approve this draft
I said,
to go to legal for legal review and then subsequently bring it back to the board for final review.
I second it.
All in favor?
Right.
We just, and I'll get you what I have, I don't have much, but it's pretty, there's some big changes to the whistleblower law
Okay,
for nonprofits, so.
great.
Well, that doesn't mean that, when it comes back from legal
Right.
review, we're not going to
Right.
tuck it in again.
Ed, can you send me a copy of that?
Yes, ma'am. Well, that's why I got you.
And along those same lines, you guys are meeting Friday?
We're meeting Friday.
You're on that committee, I've got to talk to him, I have a conflict.
Yeah, I do, but I just want to bring to your attention two items
Yep.
from our last meeting. And I talked to Jay about this because I don't have a real opinion. The first one is there was an employee that was moved to $8.09 an hour. And Ann came to me and she felt because the new minimum wage is $8, that it wasn't within the spirit of what we were doing at the 3%. I opted not to make a decision. She wanted me to make a decision, and I said, let the personnel committee handle it. I don't have an opinion on that. So that may be something, if you guys could take a look at what you want to do, if you want to leave it where it was, or you don't think it met the spirit, I don't know. The other issue was with regards to her, when we discussed the budget, and we gave, as noted in the minutes, the rate, we gave a stipend of $2,000 instead of the $4,000 I had listed, and a 5% raise instead of a 3% raise.
Right.
She was a little offended because remarks were made that, she didn't get the $4,000 because she didn't have a degree, which that really is, I don't think it was meant in that spirit. I think it was meant, I think we all came to a consensus at 2,000 and 5%. But I'm just asking the personnel committee that you may want to discuss that with her or take a look at it and decide not to look at it again. But she did come to me and I told her I would bring it to the board and bring it to your attention.
Okay.
I would like to have a word about that too, is she was greatly offended. I think she was planning, she spent 6 months, she ordinarily made 30, we were giving her 2 and then 5% when she would have, without doing any of that and putting in all the overtime and weekends that she did, get another 2%. And I think that's miserly on our part. Everybody said she did an excellent job. She stepped up to the plate. She did not negotiate any terms ahead of time, which was naivety and trust on her part.
If she
And I
wants,
think she deserved the
if
4.
she wants 4 in 2000, in 2012, and 2013, she can have it because that's going to be less money in her pocket.
Exactly.
I mean, if that's what she wants,
Well,
she-
well,
Yeah.
let's look at it this way. Why don't you have a discussion with her?
okay.
Find
Sure,
out
because
what
I think you
will-
want
that's
to
less
yield
money.
it.
Yeah,
I think we need to keep her and,
Well,
Mary,
if-
absolutely. I don't think she, but Mary, I don't think she understands that what we were trying to do, and it wasn't me, it was the board.
I know.
who
It
does
was
do
a
it. But it was a
consensus,
consensus,
and I
and
don't
what we were
think
trying
I
to do
was
was give her
paying enough
more than
attention.
She bargained for.
Right.
To save time, why don't you just go ahead and do it?
Yeah, and if for some reason, if she feels offended, we don't want that to happen.
No,
It was never intended to be that, so
just the opposite.
just take a look at it, find out what's bugging her. Maybe she needs an education on it, or maybe she wants to go a certain way.
Mary, but I want to caution you as a trustee. It's called a conflict of interest. You are related to her
No,
by
I'm
marriage.
not. No,
She
I'm
is
not.
related.
Then she is
I
not
am
your
not.
niece?
No.
They are both in-laws.
That is still a
No,
relationship.
no.
That's the way you're
Separate.
related to
No.
2 people on this board,
You
but I
must
am
be
not.
careful what you're proposing as a board trustee.
Well, I
She
proposed
is
it,
no-
I
no-
proposed it.
No,
Related.
she made a statement.
Wait a minute. Why don't you let
She
me
is
explain the
my
relationship?
ex-husband's nephew's wife.
Okay,
That is so far
This is
removed,
over.
we're nothing. I have no relationship with that family.
okay.
And I don't need to explain it to you, we're in public, and I don't
No,
like your
It does become a
accusations.
manner because it is
No.
a concern. Because the way your verbiage that you used, Mary.
Okay, let's,
It
this
was
is.
just a,
Let it
it was
go,
just
Ed.
a, just a.
Okay, make a long story short,
Ed's gonna
I'm
talk
gonna
to
call
her.
Ann
Ed's
first
gonna
thing
talk to
tomorrow.
her.
Let's put,
And
let's.
we
Elena,
need to-
I mean,
Well, maybe Elena and Ed can talk before they.
Well,
Yes,
Ed is-
and then
Ed
about
has to
the
be-
minimum wage, it was my idea.
That's
because I
true,
received
but
this
Ed is a
email,
personnel
and
guy.
I approached
and-
Ann, we have Ashley, and you told we're gonna do it prior to
You
this
got all
day,
this
it
down,
should be
John.
approved by board. It's actually for
I hope.
all
I hope.
directors, they receive a
John,
message.
send me the
for
draft
minimum
and I'll.
Wage,
we'll
I know,
support
effective
it.
new year, it
Is it
was,
exponential?
it was I.
Well, whoever it was, I
Yes,
didn't
it
hear it
was-
from you though. I heard it from her.
Because
So, and that's why I talked to
another
Jay
two.
and I just felt
Yes.
firmly that this
Let's-
is sort of,
We actually
I
need.
took it on
Yeah.
just to get the budget passed.
We don't
so-
wanna leave you holding this bag. I want Ed to explain it to her because, and Ed can speak for the board because we voted on this together.
I mean, does everybody agree? I mean, again,
It sounded good enough to me when I listened to
I mean,
it.
it's 2%.
Great job.
I heard her
Let's
say,
Well,
speak with you, yes, but.
it's
Friday
2%,
in.
right, it's 2%
You don't have to-
every single year, and then
$600, it keeps growing.
and it keeps
Right.
growing, and then there's,
Exponentially.
every time she gets a raise, it's on top of that.
Well,
Yeah, that's
make,
true.
help her to understand, or at least do whatever
Okay.
you can
I
to
will.
make sure she understands.
No.
Let's speak.
She's an important employee and we don't want to offend her.
Yeah, no, I
It
mean.
was not intended.
But the intent was to give her
Great
more
job.
than what she bargained for.
I understand that, but,
And I think that that's the board agreement, is that,
That's what we thought.
Yeah.
That's not what she heard.
well,
So I
but,
think you need to
well, she was
explain
sitting right there.
Move on.
Well,
I'm gonna talk to her.
okay.
All right.
Yep.
I have to use my,
Please.
Please do it.
Is there anything anybody wants to talk to about the ad hoc committee reports? I think,
No.
And thank you for the motion, you know.
Yeah.
continuing business as trustee emeritus, my own feeling on that is, it's premature, it doesn't make sense, and we've got too many other things to do, so I'm not interested in pursuing that, although I'm open to anybody who wants to talk about it.
I don't think it's a good idea, Jay. It's never, to my knowledge, when you bestow something like that, it's for something so important. And at this juncture, I think we have more pressing issues than even consideration.
That's my
of
point,
merits.
I don't want.
I mean, that's, and my issue, Jay, is that, just this, is that if we're gonna do it, it's not a bad idea, it's a great idea, but if we're gonna do it, we need to implement it the right way, which is, in a sense of information out regarding it. We'll have to amend the bylaws to include it, and then get the bylaws approved,
And the
and we're
Board of
doing it, we're
Regents.
doing
Yeah.
Mary, we're doing a review of the bylaws now, so that may be part of the, I don't know. You know, I don't know, Jay, you know what I mean, but my point is that.
Okay, well, my point is, I am totally uninterested, so.
Okay.
So am I.
All right, if anybody wants to bring it up, obviously, you know, I'm not the only guy in the game. But I'm gonna take the lead and say, it's not the time, it's not being done properly, we have no idea. I don't wanna waste any time on it.
Okay,
Okay,
let's go.
Can I have a motion for adjournment?
Motion for adjournment?
Can I suggest that, the next meeting won't be quite as long?
I
Please.
make a motion, next meeting not be as long.
I think it's important that we get these issues out, and we talk about them, and we spend the time it takes, and if it takes 2 hours instead of 1, that's okay, but we should try to keep it to no more than 2 hours. The handbook slaps us around for that, you know, if we go more than that.
I thought you were gonna say an hour.
No, 2 hours, no. Well, I don't wanna preempt anybody's ability to talk, because,
Most scientific studies indicate once you go beyond 1 hour, your achievement level dissipates gradually. So then we are 2 hours.
well, actually, I figured it would be an hour, and then we're gonna give Ed an extra 30 minutes so he could do this. And so the next time, I suspect we'll try to keep it to an hour, and we'll give John some time to tell us about policies, or if John's not ready, someone else can speak about their committee. Okay, do we have a,
What was the
have a
second?
vote to adjourn?
Yes. Aye.
Yes.
Unanimous.
Oh, yeah.